Donaldson from Standing Above the Crowd podcast, coming to you live from Rainier Avenue Radio right here in beautiful downtown, if not a little bit wet, Seattle, Washington. All right. I'm also the executive director for Your Gift of Life, my big logo back here. And I focus on mental health awareness and suicide prevention, especially for our young students out there going around talking to kids at schools, really encouraging them to hang in there no matter how tough things get in life. You can make it. We've all had challenges in life. We've made it. All these great guests on the show today, they've made it through tough times too. So kids, you just hang in there and don't ever give up. Your Gift of Life Foundation is what that's all about. Hey, today I've got a great show. This is a fourth tribute to Lenny Wilkens, Coach Lenny Wilkens, who just passed away about a month ago. And I was fortunate to be at his memorial service last week, along with one of the guests, Jack Sikma. He'll talk about that as well. Lenny was just an extraordinary guy. I mean, they don't make him like him anymore. And we were just so blessed to be coached by him, be mentored by him, and just to be able to be in his presence from time to time. It's just fantastic. So I do have an announcement. It looks like it scrolled up a little bit on me. Let me get to it. Okay. Excuse me, got a little frog today. Here we go. My announcement is shop local this Christmas at the Together We Thrive Holiday Market. It's being held at the Columbia City Theater this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tune in live on Rainier Avenue Radio from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific time, featuring interviews with vendors and sponsors and Rainier Avenue team and the host, and everybody else will be there. So remember, our local businesses need you. So make sure you shop local as often as you can. Introducing my guest today. We've done a couple shows with a couple former players, a couple former coaches that worked with Lenny. Today, these are actual players who are on the NBA World Championship team, 1979 Seattle Supersonics. All of them great guys, and I see a couple of them around town here in Seattle once in a while. And, we've all been through it. I came in a couple years after them, so I missed all of that. But, I've been able to bask in their glory ever since. So introducing my guest is Jack Sikma, the starting center at the World Championship team and a long career in the NBA. Wally Walker, who was one of the key integral players on the championship team as well. Dennis Awtrey was a backup center and did his time working in the NBA for a lot of years, and also a key contributor. And Joe Hassett, he didn't play much, but he was contributing quite a bit in the locker room and the camaraderie around the guys. You need to make it happen. So, Daniel, go ahead and pop them all on the screen, and we'll get them going and get started here. All right. Hey, there's Dennis. Okay. All right. They're coming in. Okay. Good to see everybody. And Joey reminded me he's sitting in a dark parking lot.
I'm in a car.
In the car, waiting to go to some dinner right after the show ends. So he's in the parking lot right outside the rhestaurant.
Lucky for us.
Yeah. We can't see him.
I look like a gangster up here. That's what I look
like.
That's
right. That's
Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
But it's so great to see all you guys, man. It's really so great. Jack and I were at the memorial service last week, and what a tremendous outpouring of love and support for this wonderful guy. Just so many lives he touched. There's the cover of the Celebration of Life brochure that he had out there. And Jack, I want to start with you. What we want to do is talk about your remembrances of not only being coached by Lenny Wilkens, but the man himself and being on that championship team that was such a magical ride for the Seattle Supersonics. What was that all about, Jack? Can you hear me, Jack?
James, you're breaking up a little bit. Just want to check and make sure you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yes, you're good. You're good.
You're breaking up. Can you hear me?
Yes. You sound great.
You
Daniel,
can't hear me. Okay. Well, many fond memories.
We can't hear you. You're not talking. Daniel, can you send Jack a message and see if you can work with that? Daniel's the producer.
How about now?
Okay,
Yep.
better. No, hey, okay. Let's come back to you, Jack. Wally Walker. Hey, man, you are on that championship team. Contributed quite a bit. Great to see you again, by the way.
Thank you. You too.
You know, well, we've lost some guys this year. It's really been a tragic year.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Good to
It
go.
really has. Let's go ahead and get Wally underway. We only have about 27 minutes total time. So, Wally, give us some remembrances of playing with Lenny and being coached by him and being on that world championship team. What was that all about?
Yeah, a couple things with the benefit of reflecting now almost 50 years really stick out. One of them was Lenny's patience. I mean, most of our team, excepting Dennis, who came in partway through the championship year, we were in our early mid-20s. You know, Paul Silas, JJ, Fred Brown, a little older, but the rest of us mid-20s. And he was so patient with us because guess what? Guys in their early mid-20s can be knuckleheads, and we were. I know I was at times. And Lenny was so patient with it, and it would never embarrass you. He treated us all with such respect. If he wanted to make a point, he kind of pulled you aside, and sometimes it was very pointed and stern. And it worked for me, I know, and I can tell you, it's times I needed it. One of the huge remembers. I've said this a lot, but the year before we went to the finals when he took over at 5-17, I think it was the greatest in-season turnaround in the history of sports. To go one of the worst teams in the NBA to Game 7 of the finals without changing the personnel, just by changing the coach, it is incredibly remarkable, and I don't think we'll see its likes again.
That really was remarkable. But he made some changes, didn't he, with the starting lineup or something during that time, 5-17 to the 7th game of the championship. What changes did he make that year?
Well, this has been lost in the dustbin of history, but I was starter for his first game in Kansas City, along with Paul Silas at the other forward. We won a close game. I had a nice 4 for 16 shooting performance that game. But then he changed up a couple of things he did in the next game we played at Boston. We were on the road. Changed up and put Jack and JJ as the starting forwards, and we just killed the Celtics. So that was our lineup. The other big change he made was putting DJ, was hardly playing at all in the starting lineup. And Slick Bucks was kind of moved out of the rotation. But we had 2 Hall of Famers that none of us knew it at the time, and Jack and DJ.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. Joey, I know you're anxiously waiting to get into your dinner, so let's go to you, Joey Hassett, and give us some of your remembrances of Lenny Wilkens and that championship year.
Well, I was thinking about what Wally just said. I thought Lenny was great with personnel. You know, Gus Williams, who was holding out at Golden State, they didn't want to sign him, and went and got him and brought him in. You know, Fred Brown downtown was playing 35 minutes a game, which was too many minutes. So he put Gus in the starting lineup with Dennis. And then he had Paul Silas was playing a ton of minutes and put Jack at the power forward that first year. Mark Webster was the center. And he traded John Johnson at the Houston Rockets, and he became the small forward on that team. And I think that team won 20 of the last 22 games. And that was, you know, Lenny's design of that team was just unbelievable. And you know, what Wally said about all the personalities we had a great group of guys. You know, I was on a lot of teams. You know, you said I didn't play much in that team, but I had a lot of fun on that team. I finally got to play when I went to Indiana. You know, I got to get rid of all those guys because I couldn't get any minutes playing with them. But it was a lot of fun on that. You know, I stay in touch with a lot of those guys now still. And, you know, all the other teams I was on, I don't stay in touch with many of those guys. But that Seattle team was a great group of guys. And it's nice to see everybody again.
Yeah, thank you. It really was a special team. And, you know, a lot of the guys were still around when I joined the team a year later or so. And we're still around here. So that's great. Dennis Awtrey. Yeah. Okay, Jack, we'll come to you after Dennis. Dennis Awtrey. Give us some of your fond remembrances of Lenny Wilkens, of course, and that championship team that you apparently joined mid-season or somehow.
Yeah, I got traded in after Tom Lagarde had gotten hurt, and they needed somebody, so I was the guy. And the only problem was Jack was in front of me, so I didn't play much either. Lenny had tremendous confidence in Jack, and I did too. He was our workhorse, and he was the guy that got it done. But really, one of the biggest things I remember about Lenny was we had our 40-year reunion, and I was saying, why 40 years? And now I understand. We're getting older, but we had a bus ride up to Mill Creek, I think it was, and sat there and talked with him. Lenny was there with 4 or 5 of us talking, and I had not. I played against him early on, but I hadn't really sat down and talked to him about how he started out in the league and as he progressed through the league and stuff. And it was fascinating. I mean, I really developed a lot more. I knew him a lot better than I ever did.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wow. Jack, is your mic working now? You okay?
I'm good. I went to my phone trying with my computer and we were breaking up. So plan B. Sometimes plan B, but I'm good to go now, James.
You're good to go. Give us your remembrances. You were at least 4 guys anyway, the key guy on that championship team. You must have some great remembrances. And when Lenny came in and turned that 5-17 team around, wow, and took off, Joey said, 20 out of the last 22 games down the stretch. That doesn't happen often. What do you remember about that and about the man, Lenny Wilkens?
Yeah, well, first of all, I missed the first few minutes. Anybody talked about the first meeting he had when he took over as coach?
No, they didn't.
So as Wally mentioned, he took over. We were playing Kansas City that night, and we were in the hotel, and actually Bob Hopkins, I think, ran into Joe and I, and that's how we found out he was fired. And we had a team meeting upstairs in a room, and so Lenny sat us down, and we're sitting at 5-17, and he starts by saying, "Hey, I really like this team. I think we can win with this team." And really tried to build some confidence, give us some confidence in our team. And, we're all sitting there saying, well, we're 5-17. So, but anyway, he made some moves. The other interesting story about that was the game before in Denver, I started for the first time, which happened to be Bob Hopkins' last game as a coach.
Me too, Jack. That was my first ever NBA start. That game before the guy got fired. So there you go.
Good omens.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was making a decent salary, but I had a bonus for if I started 15 games, I'd make 10 grand more, which was 10% of my salary. So I started that last game with Bob Hopkins, and I said, "Oh man, I got a chance to get this bonus." We get to Kansas City, and now all of a sudden I'm not starting. And Joe and I, we were roommates. We shared a house, and Joe just looked at me and shook his head. He says, "I'm sorry, Jack." Turned around. The next game, I ended up starting and got my 15 games in. So. And of course, like all the guys on our team, I went and made sure I bought dinner for everyone with that.
Good. I don't remember that part.
Anyway, the thing about it is Lenny was a believer in he had a plan. He talked about all the additions. So Wally came in a trade. John Johnson came. Gus came. We had some young guys on the team. The big trade with Denver for Webster and Silas, and anyway, it was the team that Lenny put together. So I think at the time we maybe didn't realize that it was kind of important for Lenny to have this team succeed too. And he just has a grace and a quiet way about it. I do remember though that we had really competitive practices. We had a bunch of young guys scratching and clawing, trying to establish themselves in the league. And so I've really appreciated how we practiced, especially where I was in my career. And I guess the other thing I want to mention is it's amazing how many hats he wore. If I'm and the guys my age can confirm this, but if I'm correct, like in the playoffs and so forth, didn't he do color commentary while he was a player with Keith Jackson on the Sunday game? And then he's a player coach, and he just did a lot of amazing things. And he was one that was not boisterous about it, but he was a really confident man. And there was nothing that was put in front of him that he didn't think he could succeed in. And, I just always appreciate the way he went about things.
Yeah, that's wonderful, man. Yeah, the quiet confidence, just kind of determined. And I've done a couple of these shows now, and that's what a lot of the guys have said. And actually, I had a chance to meet with him. We met on a regular basis every 2 or 3 months for breakfast over at the 13 Coins in Bellevue. And, we did that for probably about 15 years or so. And every 2 or 3 or 4 months, we'd have breakfast, just him and I. Once in a while, we'd have another guy join in, but it was just him and I talking about life, talking about basketball. He was such a great mentor to me, a role model, and all those great things, a great friend. I talked to him 2 days before he passed, and he sounded totally fine, and putting together another breakfast. And he said, well, we may have to kick it down the road a little bit. My health is a little bit iffy. And that's what he said. And I'm like, well, what's that mean? And then 48 hours later, he was gone. And, you just never know that might be the last time. So this is great to get all of us together. What are some of the life lessons you've learned from Lenny Wilkens? Dennis, you got any thoughts that you've taken with you throughout the rest of the way?
Well, yes, I have. I played for a lot of teams. We all know that. Okay. A lot of different coaches. And the last coach I'd played before Lenny was John McLeod for 4 years. And John wanted to be a general out there. He wanted things to be in order and follow my instructions and run it right. And you got to Lenny, I got used to that. And you got to Lenny, and Lenny was perfect for that team. Gus could do some crazy things, but just give him the rope and he will win it for you. And that's what he would do. He understood people and how to get the best out of them. And he did get the best out of that team. Yeah,
that's great. That's great. Wally, what are some of your life lessons you've taken from Lenny Wilkens?
Yeah, I'll go back to the theme. We've been on it a little bit, but I'll elaborate for a second. Just the power of confidence and belief. We were down and out. We had no confidence or belief in ourselves or our team or teammates. And, one of the misnomers about sports, and particularly people who haven't been pro athletes, which we were all fortunate to be, is to think we're all supremely confident all the time. Well, we're not. And even at the highest level, athletes need that confidence boost. And he was great about giving it to you. And again, I'll say it a different way. If something needed to be corrected, he pointed out a way that you didn't feel disparaged or disrespected at all. It was like, if Lenny's saying that, I better clean that up because I know he's got my best interests.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Joey, what do you got? What do you got? Life lessons you've taken from Lenny Wilkens?
Lenny was great. I mean, those breakfasts you talked about, he used to call me. I do Providence College basketball color, and he would call during the games, leave me a message, and I'd call him on the way home and just talk about life with him. It was awesome. But I think what Lenny was great for, he taught me, I think taught all of us, we were a young team as we mentioned, but he taught us all how to be professional. I had my rookie year, I had tickets to the chorus line, which you couldn't get. You had to wait a year to get them. And, I had my fiance, my wife, we've been married 47 years now. I had tickets to the chorus line. We get off the plane. I said, I'm going to a play. Lenny says, no, we're not. We're going to practice. I said, practice? But he said, Joe, your livelihood now. This is your livelihood. So you have to go to work tonight. You're not going to that play. And I said, okay. That was the end of that. But, you realize that, you're not a kid anymore and you got to be professional and, you got to go out and win games. And this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I respected that because we had to grow up a little bit faster with him. That's for sure. And he told you what he thought. And like the guys already really had he was very good at that and taught us how to be professional.
Yeah, he really did. And, he told us what he thought, but not in a demeaning, degrading kind of way. I don't know if I've ever heard him raise his voice. I mean, he pretty much crossed those arms and he give you that look and that cold shoulder once in a while. But I've never heard him cuss anybody out, and that's so rare. Jack, you've kind of touched on a couple of these things. What are some of your life lessons you've taken with you thus far?
Well, I just want to highlight a little bit about the fact that I've been in Seattle and since the last 10, 15 years, since he no longer was coaching or involved with a team. So a chance at events and a number of different to spend some time with him. And in a number of those instances, like our families were included, and Lenny was always just so welcoming and paid attention to my kids and asked about them or asked them questions and just treated him so well. And his family, I mean, his at the memorial service funeral the other day, they all spoke and just really impressed with all of them, how they did. And he really was a family first guy. Had many people who were in the neighborhood who went to Sacred Heart Church, and Lenny was in the same spot every
Mm-hmm.
he just had his priorities in the right order. And a reminder of just how nice a guy he was. When he passed away, all three of my sons reached out to me and just said, "Hey, I'm so sorry. He's always treated me so well when I met with Mr. Wilkens." And that's, I think, of all the things you carry with you from this world to the next, I think that's really important and powerful.
Wow, yeah, that's powerful, and that's very appreciated. Thank you very much for that. You know, we got about 5 minutes left, and our basketball fans and coaches and young players out there, what is some advice you give these young players now in high school and college, getting ready for this world of NIL, transfer portals, possibly a life in the NBA afterwards? Give a minute or so each on that. That's a whole different world that we didn't face, but these kids are facing now. Dennis, are you keeping up with all this NIL transfer portal stuff?
I had learned a little bit about it. Yeah, when I find out that they made a whole lot more as college than we did as pros in those days.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too that nowadays college players they can change any team they want. It used to be we got traded, and you didn't get traded in a college atmosphere. But now, hey, you play one and you got done. One thing I noticed the other day, Jalen Williams plays for the Oklahoma City. Yeah. Well, he played for Santa Clara, where I played for 3 years. And I thought, with his talent, and he stayed there. That's amazing. It tells you a lot about the quality of the man that didn't need to go somewhere else. He had found his place, and that's tough in the NIL nowadays.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, Wally, what do you got? We got about 30 seconds for you and Jack and Joe.
Yeah, one of the big risks in the current system is players face a little challenge. They don't have incentive to persevere and get through to the other side and stand in that same place. They're sometimes incentivized to leave and not work their way through it, and life lesson not learned, and they got to be really careful about that.
Yeah, you're so right. Joe, you're broadcasting Providence games. You see the college kids up close and personal.
Yeah.
What do you got for us on that?
Yeah, just what Wally said too. I mean, it's totally different now. If guys don't like what's going on, or the situation's not conducive to them, they all have agents now, and nobody had that in college before. And the agent will tell them, "Hey, listen, we'll go someplace else next year." And there's a kid at Brown University we played last night who's sitting out his senior year at Brown because he's waiting to get NIL money next year. So he's not even going to play, and he's perfectly healthy. That's how crazy it's gotten. So I don't know what you say to these guys, but it's a whole new world. I think they got to blow it up and start all over again. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah. Jack, what do you got for us?
Mine's going to be short and sweet. Just take a chunk and invest it.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That might be the best advice, because I really worry about these kids too, especially what Wally was saying. As soon as they face some adversity, they run for greener pastures. Well, life isn't like that. You got to deal with some things once in a while.
At every level, there's a lot of zeros out there nowadays, and it's just a different world. And again, I blame the NCAA for years being really draconian about some of these rules and so forth, and they were behind the 8 ball for a long time, and there could have been a better solution originally. Yeah. I mean, Michael Jordan just settled with NASCAR. Maybe NCAA been better off if they settled this thing out before it got to the courts.
I agree.
They bet the franchise on winning a lawsuit. It didn't go well for them.
No, that's exactly right. Well, hey guys, this has been fantastic. I really want to thank all 4 of you for getting together and giving a real tribute, a farewell send-off to Lenny Wilkens. I think this is one of the better shows. The fans would really love to see you guys, because they remember you all from the championship team, and that's going to be great for them to see this and hear this. So I really, really appreciate that. And, we do it every week, Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All y'all out there, come back and see me anytime, and I'll have a different set of guests and different topics to talk about. This is James Donaldson, Standing Above the Crowd podcast, coming to you live every Thursday, 30 p.m. Love you all. Have a great day. Happy holidays. See you.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.